Hello, thank you for tuning in to Kaieteur Radio. Kevin Smith here, and welcome to your news at noon. These are the top stories we are tracking. Exxon and partners to rake in $42.7 billion in oil from Stabroek Block by 2024, as country pays $100 million more in taxes for oil company than it earns in royalty. 16 civil society bodies unite against gas to shore project and say oil profits must be passed on to citizens, not pay for questionable pipeline. Meanwhile, government in search of project manager and senior engineer for gas to shore project. Exxon subcontractor loses personal injury lawsuit brought by Guyanese worker. GEA's chairman speaks out against smear campaign. Overseas-based businessman murdered in Berbice. One of 5 suspects held says robbery was the intent. And Hess had bailed from Western Hemisphere's largest oil refinery after lawsuits and pollution claims. New owner files for bankruptcy and amid similar circumstances. Stay tuned to stay informed.
I'm in a rush. Digital got me in a rush. Driving style for the summer. Digital summer rush.
Nobody's doing it big like Digicel this summer. Top up with $1,000 or more and collect the letters to spell the word RUSH for a chance to win one of 3 brand new Toyota Rush SUVs. Yes, you heard it right. 3 brand new Toyota Rush SUVs.
Driving style for the summer. Hey, Digicel summer rush.
Start topping up now.
And now for the news in detail. By the end of 2024, ExxonMobil Guyana is slated to receive some $42.7 billion, representing 85% of the take from some 555 million barrels of oil scheduled to be produced from the Stabroek Block during that period, representing recoverable costs such as expenses and profits. Guyana's stake during the same period, in contrast, sees the country earning some $3.7 billion total, $653 million of which would represent taxes being paid by Guyana on behalf of the U.S. oil major operating in the Stabroek Block. Total royalty for its oil for Guyana at the end of 2024 is pegged to be $523 million or $100 million less than what the country will take from its share to fork over to the Treasury as taxes, foregone revenue from ExxonMobil. The taxes projected for Guyana to pay by the end of 2024 amounts to some $653 million. These are among some of the startling revelations documented in a recent analysis conducted by Tom Sanzillo, Director of Financial Analysis for the Institute for Energy Economics and Financial Analysis. And moving on, several civil society bodies are calling for independent Guyanese-driven energy consultations in relation to alternatives, especially given the uncertainties and likely cost overruns, in addition to environmental and other yet unknown impacts from the proposed $900 million gas-to-shore energy initiative. The sentiments were expressed in a recent joint statement endorsed by a number of civil society bodies, including Transparency International Guyana Inc., Guyana Human Rights Association, Guyana Society Against Sexual Orientation Discrimination, Policy Forum Guyana, Guyana Society for the Blind, among others. According to the grouping, and I quote, "It is uncontested that the gas pipeline is eminently unjustifiable in terms of Guyana's energy needs, which can be summarized as replacement of bunker C fuel as the main source of electricity energy." And moving on, the government of Guyana, through the Ministry of Natural Resources, has announced vacancy positions for a project manager and senior engineer for the contentious gas-to-shore project. According to the terms of reference, the project manager will play a lead role with influence to review and guide projects in a direction where positive outcomes will be to maximize transparency and the achievement of efficient and competitive value engineering as a standard approach. The role requires liaising with multidisciplinary teams and presents an opportunity for the manager to work closely with both operator and government to investigate existing procedures. Further, the manager will develop, lead and manage the project management team and deliver objectives in support of the gas to shore, including an amendment to the Liza Field Development Plan and technical input to the EISA. And moving on, Tanisha Fredericks, a Guyanese woman, has secured a default judgment against a Trinidad and Tobago oil services company operating in Guyana. According to a statement issued yesterday, Fredericks secured judgment against Centipede Offshore Guyana Inc., a company which she worked for that provided drilling services to ExxonMobil. According to legal documents seen, the judgment order was issued on July 20th at the Georgetown High Court by Justice Fidela Corbin Lincoln. Justice Corbin Lincoln granted Fredericks in excess of $1 million for negligence by the company in so far as they caused her to suffer chemical burns to her finger in October of 2020, as well as special damages for medical expenses, loss of income, and loss of earning capacity. In her claim, Fredericks outlined that the company provided her with gloves that were not suitable to her responsibilities in handling toxic chemicals and cleaning agents. You're listening to Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM, and this is your news at noon. Moving on, Chairman of the Board of Directors of the Guyana Energy Agency, or GEA, Jerome Khan, has come out in defense of the government agency over what he describes as a smear campaign being waged by Director of SBF International Inc. and SBF Petroleum Inc., Doreen Bess. Khan, in a missive to the media, recently accused Ben of presenting, and I quote, convenient half-truths and blatant misrepresentations in attempting to paint the GEA as a villain in his fallacious tale of woe and victimization. The chairman was adamant that for Bess to portray the GEA as being involved in vindictive, high-handed conspiratorial actions against his company are easily proved inaccurate by following the written paper trail of communications concerning the company's eventual eviction from a Christiansburg Linden facility. The time has now moved on to 12 hours 30. We will return with more news after the break.
This is GHK Lal inviting you to join me weekdays from Monday to Friday on the National Outlook for commentary on a range of issues. Immediately after the 12 noon and 7 p.m. newscasts on Kaieteur Radio at 99.1 FM and 99.5 FM. Looking forward to you sharing in the conversation.
Welcome back. Let us continue with the news. The owners of a Caribbean oil refinery that was once the largest refinery in the Western Hemisphere has filed for bankruptcy after a series of environmental breaches and a government-ordered shutdown, highlighting pressures faced by the oil industry to curb its environmental impact, according to international media company Bloomberg. Limetree Bay Refining LLC sought creditor protection on July 12th after the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency halted its operations earlier this year. The St. Croix, U.S. Virgin Islands-based refinery had also filed for bankruptcy in 2015 under previous ownership. The refinery was previously owned under a joint venture between the U.S. oil giant Hess and Venezuelan state oil company Petrolas de Venezuela, and had a refining capacity of 650,000 barrels a day, making it the largest refinery in the Western Hemisphere at the time. And now let's tell you, one of the 5 persons currently in police custody yesterday confessed to being a part of the brutal murder of overseas-based Guyanese businessman Hemraj Pardesi, called Prem, of Reliance East Kanji Berbice. Police sources confirmed that the suspect, who was arrested yesterday morning back at the Rose Hall estate in the Kanji Creek, cracked under questioning by investigating ranks and admitted to playing a role in the death of the man. He told police that the intention was to rob Pardesi, but things got out of hand. The businessman had visited a local bank and made a withdrawal of an undisclosed amount of cash on Tuesday. He was accompanied by a close acquaintance. The funds withdrawn were to offset expenses for ongoing renovation works at his Reliance property. We were reliably informed that the suspect who spilled the beans was a few months ago released from prison after spending 2 years on a robbery under arms charge. And on that note, we now head over to our COVID-19 update. Guyana has seen a total of 22,705 total coronavirus cases, with deaths at 551 and recovery cases at 22,327. And the country currently has 173 active cases with 11 critical. Just before we wrap things up, let's head over to the page 7 of the Kaieteur News dedicated to being blunt. Take a quick look at Guyana and its oil. Updated environmental impact assessment? No. Ring fencing provisions? None. Modernizing petroleum laws? No. Transparency with oil and gas reports? None. Take more nonsense from Exxon? Yes. Thank you, PPP leaders and the opposition as well. With that, we come to the end of today's News at Noon. I'm Kevin Smith. Thank you for listening.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands.